In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do a rear delt fly, and we're going to go through two different variations of this exercise so that you can learn how to do it both from a seated position and a standing position. The rear delt is the muscle on the back of your shoulder that often gets neglected. We train a lot of front delt with our pressing exercises. We do a lot of lateral raises and upright rows and things like that that target the lateral delt. But we don't often do enough work. It's often neglected by people to actually isolate the rear delt and hit that directly. So this is an extremely important exercise for you to develop overall shoulder health. With all that said, let's dive in. Okay, let's go over the seated variation of this exercise first, because a lot of the pointers for the seated variation are going to carry over to the standing variation. And the first thing to go over is that whether seated or standing, you're going to be working with a relatively light weight for this exercise. The rear delt is a small muscle, and you're not going to be able to move a lot of weight with it. If you get too heavy with this exercise, you'll likely, in addition to working your rear delt, just engage a lot of other musculature in your upper back. And the purpose of this exercise is not to work your entire upper back, it's to isolate the rear delt. So you'll, generally speaking, be using a pretty light weight. And in addition to that, the range of motion is not very large for this exercise. Once again, the rear delt is a small muscle, and it's only going to be able to be isolated in motion for a small range of motion. So you'll see that as I demonstrate this exercise, my arms and shoulders are not moving all that much. But the point of it is not to really drastically, flap your arms up and down. The point of the exercise is to feel your rear delt moving the weight, contracting and lengthening. Now, let's dive into the pointers. Okay, so you want to pick a seat or a bench and move up to put your butt at the edge of the seat. And then with your pair of dumbbells, again, these are going to be light weights. I'm working with 10-pound dumbbells. You're going to bring them down to your side and then lower your chest down towards your knees. You see that my legs are out in front of me, even closer than shoulder width apart, so we're not really wide out here like this. Kind of have your feet together in front of you. Start with the dumbbells on your knees, bring them down, and then lower your chest. You want your torso to be parallel to the floor, or as parallel as you can get it. And then from there, really what I want you to think about is raising your arms out to the side. And I want you to think about, as you're down here, bringing your arms out and almost reaching your fists towards the walls at either side of you. Okay, that's going to be a good cue to think about bringing those arms straight out to the side. So we have the dumbbells here on your knees. We bring them down, lower your chest down to your knees. You can have your dumbbells down here, and we think about raising those dumbbells out towards the walls to either side of you. And you see, this range of motion is not very big, but right here, I can feel a huge contraction on my rear delt, and then back down. So that's what you want to do. Feel that contraction and come back down. If you feel that contraction and then continue to go up, you're going to start using muscles like your traps and your mid back to move the weight. And again, that's not what we're looking to do. So this is a pretty simple and straightforward exercise. Raising your arms out to the side and back down. Raising them out and back down. And you'll also see that my elbows are slightly bent. Yours don't have to be, but if that helps you feel it in your rear delt more, it's fine to have your elbows bent a little bit. Really, again, to hammer it home, the point of this exercise is to feel your rear delt moving the weight and feel it contracting at the very top of the exercise. Now you'll see that in those reps I just did, my hands, my grip is neutral, right? So my fists are like this. You can pronate them and lift that way as well. This is kind of like whatever makes you feel the exercise more, use that. And sometimes even, doing a block of training with one grip and then switching to the other grip for your next block of training helps keep the exercise fresh and helps you continue to feel it in the muscle group. So whatever grip works best for you, it's probably something to experiment, play around with, and see, you know, what you feel the most in your rear delts. But again, here's the neutral grip. Another rep. And here's the pronated grip. Whichever grip you use, the point of the exercise remains the same. Think about stretching your fists out to those walls at either side of you. And to do the standing variation of this, again, all of the cues are going to be the same. You're just going to be standing up. For the standing variation, I would encourage you to have your feet shoulder width apart below you. That's going to help you be a little bit more stable as opposed to having your feet close together like we did with the seated variation. So legs shoulder width apart. You're simply going to hinge at the hips until you can get your torso parallel to the floor, just like before. And then same cues apply like this. Reaching those arms out to the walls at either side of you. You can also do the pronated grip. The pronated grip may be easier for the standing variation because the dumbbell's out in front of you maybe makes them be a little too far out in front of you. The pronated version, just like that. And that's how you do a rear delt fly. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. Happy training.